Hi everyone, and welcome to Sent You a Message.
Why are you dressed like that?
I just got back from Miami, baby. Everyone dresses like this.
I think you're confusing Miami with the TV series Miami Vice.
I was there. It's definitely Miami.
Well, what did you get up to then?
Well, me and my friend Don Johnson hopped in our Ferrari Testarossa.
I'm going to stop you there.
Let me finish, and checked out a load of Capcom games at the annual Captivate Showcase.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah, well, I thought he'd want to bust some drug dealers or something, but he's just really keen on Street Fighter and Resident Evil, so it's quite handy, really. It's given me some answers for questions like this one from William Boland on a new Dead Rising game. Now, I feel particularly inclined to answer this, as that stray lowercase n in no suggests that he's something of an unhinged character.
So, as we've established from the outset, Dan was in Miami.
I was there.
Yes, so he's hopefully come back with some news that will placate angry William.
Yes, I have, Andy, and this is it. Capcom revealed two previously unheard of games at Captivate. One was the all-new fantasy epic Dragon's Dogma, while the other, and more pertinent to this particular query, was the rather interesting Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. Now, to be absolutely clear, Off the Record is not an add-on like Case Zero and Case West, but a standalone game that seeks to address the biggest criticism of Dead Rising 2, namely the absence of burly snapper Frank West. Originally intended as a director's cut edition of the game, Off the Record has now veered into remake territory. Capcom Vancouver, formerly Blue Castle Games, opted for reimagining, but that word doesn't exist, thanks very much, Tim Burton.
What this means is that you'll be chainsaw paddling your way through Fortune City once again, only this time you'll play a slightly obese paparazzo instead of a motocross champ with zombie daughter issues.
Obviously, there's more to this what-if scenario than that. Once again, the game starts with the amoral show Terror is Reality, only this time Frank has usurped Chuck as the star of the show. You'll even see posters promoting Frank's appearance hastily pasted over Chuck's in the corridors. Things take a similar turn for the worse, only you'll actually witness TIR host TK coordinating the zombie outbreak with crusty activist Brandon, and have a chance to snap them as they do so.
Yeah, the photography aspect is much closer to that seen in the original Dead Rising, and so you'll earn prestige points for taking shots that fall into categories such as horror, brutality, and erotica, which is obviously something you'll encounter a lot during a zombie massacre. Frank can even grab zombies and take self-portraits with them, presumably so we can all find a reason to laugh amidst the needless bloodshed.
Now, Frank may be a little out of shape, as the unflattering unitard he's forced to wear at the game's start so clearly demonstrates, but his experience of slaughtering the undead means he's got a lot more moves at his disposal than Chuck, including suplexes, somersault kicks, and a Zangief-style spinning lariat. He's also managed to inherit Chuck's ability to create custom weapons, and Capcom promises some never-before-seen combinations.
If you're worried about the environment being too familiar, we've been assured that Fortune City's layout has been altered, including the addition of a completely new area filled with previously unseen psychos.
It's also been promised that player feedback has been taken into consideration, which means that a checkpoint system has been introduced, loading times between areas have been reduced, and you won't have to trek back to the safe area to administer Zombrek shots because Frank's the one who's infected. Dead Rising 2 Off the Record is lined up for an autumn release. You can watch creative director Jason Lee, not the guy from My Name is Earl and Alvin and the Chipmunks, chatting about the game on Inside Xbox right now if you check out our dedicated coverage of Captivate, which I was at. I was there.
Weather and biscuit lover Thunder Oreo 120, as well as a bazillion other people, are asking about the second game add-on for Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yep, the embargo finally lifted on this on Monday, and it's been confirmed that the next add-on for Black Ops is called the Escalator Pack and features you fighting on a series of moving staircases.
That's Escalation Pack, and it features 4 all-new multiplayer maps and a new zombie experience.
Right. What did I say?
Doesn't matter. The 4 multiplayer maps in question start with Hotel, which takes place, appropriately enough, in a hotel. The hotel in question is a luxury place in Cuba, with the action taking place on the roof against the backdrop of old Havana.
Next up is Convoy, which is set to deliver intense close-quarters combat at the scene of an ambushed US military convoy. So expect plenty of sneaking around vehicles and using trucks and the like for cover.
Then there's Zoo, which is set in an apparently abandoned Soviet zoo, meaning you probably won't get to ride lions that your enemies or kick opponents in the otter enclosure.
Oh, it's a shame. That sounds deliciously painful. Lastly, there's Stockpile, where you fight in a remote Russian farm town.
Yeah, take that, remote Russian farmers.
It's okay though, because the town houses secret WMD facilities like in barns and stuff. Missile guidance systems hidden in a cow and so forth.
That's all right then. There's also a new zombie map called Call of the Dead, which apparently promises a unique zombie experience.
Oh really? So you won't be fighting zombies like in every other zombie game then?
Maybe it won't be that unique. It does include new playable characters though. Treyarch studio head Mark Lamier said, "I don't want to spoil any surprises for Zombies fans, but Call of the Dead takes it to a whole new level.
So there's that to look forward to as well. Escalation is available exclusively on Xbox Live Marketplace on 3rd of May. Pricing hasn't been officially announced, but as the last one was 1,200 points and Activision is clearly fond of money, it's a pretty safe bet to assume it's going to cost that much too.
Money and double XP weekends. There's one to celebrate the new map pack on May the 6th. 2Pro Panda hits us with a surprisingly specific question punch about Street Fighter Cross Tekken characters before cancelling into a much more general query. He clearly knows how things work around here. Dan, you were at Capcom's Captivate. I was there. Yes, we get it. All right, stop showing off and answer the man's question.
Yes, in between soaking up rays and seeing the sights of Miami Beach during Captivate 2011, I had a chinwag with Yoshinori Ono, who now comes with an adorable hat about all things Street Fighter Cross Tekken, including the character lineup. So far, 10 characters have been revealed: Ryu, Ken, Kazuya Mishima, Nina Williams, Guile, Abel, King, Marduk, Chun-Li and Bob. Curiously, the first 8 of those were presented as pairs, with Chun-Li and Bob left on their respective lonesome. Ono-san stated that this was deliberate and that their fighting partners would be revealed at a later date, although he didn't explain the overall relevance of the pair-ups. Regarding the overall number of characters, Ono-san had this to say.
I can't give you a character total right now, but I can give you a hint. You know, if this here represents the total number of characters in the game, today I showed you about that much. So plenty more on the way, you can imagine. You know, it's also worth noting too, you mentioned Harada-san, and actually he and I don't talk a whole lot about the content of these games, the way the deal is structured. He's not really allowed to tell us how to do any stuff or give us any feedback for ours, and likewise we're not allowed to interfere with him as well. So in fact, the first time he's going to hear about some of these characters being in the game is when the embargo lifts. We have so much freedom. In fact, if I wanted to be a jerk, I could actually give Kazuya some kind of special move where he would literally, you know, fling his own poo like a chimpanzee or something. I'm not saying I'll do that, but I could if I wanted to.
Now, to answer 2Pro Panda's first question, neither Devil Kazuya nor Jun Kazama were confirmed. However, while playing the game, I discovered Kazuya's Ultra Combo, which sees him activating his Devil Gene to fire an optic laser blast and briefly spray out a pair of shadowy wings, so there's certainly a chance that his full Devil form will make it in there.
Plenty more was revealed during Dan's chat with Ono-san, so check out the Capcom Captivate coverage that's on Inside Xbox right now, and look out for a full interview in the near future.
John, or possibly From John, wants to know if there'll be a new Spider-Man game this year.
Well, the good news is that there is a Spider-Man game coming this year from Shattered Dimensions developer Beanox called Spider-Man Edge of Time. However, as all Spider-Man games apparently now have to feature as many different Spider-Men as possible, it also features Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Man Hot Dog Vendor from the short-lived series of the same name, where Peter Parker gave up crime fighting and opened a hot dog stand.
Actually, it's just Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, you switch between the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2099's timelines, with your actions in Peter Parker's universe affecting the world of Miguel O'Hara in the future. So, for example, destroying something in Spider-Man's universe means that it won't appear in Spider-Man 2099's.
Of course, as Joystick and various other websites have pointed out, Marvel 2099 is actually the future of Earth 928 and not Earth 616, which is the home of the Spider-Man we're dealing with here. Therefore, the actions wouldn't actually impact on each other. I mean, how are we supposed to swallow something this ludicrous?
Yeah. Oh, really take me out of the action. Your goal is to stop an evil scientist from rewriting history by going back in time and killing Peter Parker. Needless to say, the consequences of this are dire for the Earth.
The two Spider-Men, or Spider-Mans to put it more correctly, are able to converse via a chronolink to help them coordinate their time-altering carnage. Gameplay looks to be similar to Shattered Dimensions, with free-fall sections for 2099 and combo-based combat for classic Spidey dominating the action.
Now that's all that's been announced about the game so far, but it's not due out until autumn, so expect more on it before then, unless Beanox's office is destroyed by the Green Goblin.
That's not very likely, is it?
Yeah, the odds are slim, admittedly. Adam Dover escaped the horrors of Raccoon City over a decade ago and has now recovered from the trauma he suffered just in time to play the recreation of this cleanup operation without suffering any awful flashbacks. Well, Adam, it just so happens that Capcom revealed a ton of information on Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City at its recent Captivate event in Miami. And as you may have heard,
I was there.
I swear I sounded cooler than that. Anyway, I chatted to producer Masachika Kawata at Captivate, I was there, who went into considerable depth about this unexpected but nonetheless welcome spin-off for the Resi franchise. First up, this game is not being developed in-house. Like Dead Rising 2, the project is being handled in Vancouver, albeit by Slant 6 Games, previously responsible for a third-person squad-based military shooter franchise that rhymes with FOCOM.
It's no surprise then that Operation Raccoon City, or ORC, is a third-person squad-based shooter, albeit one set in a town rent asunder by zombies and bioorganic weapons. Set during the same timeline as Resident Evils 2 and 3, it pits a squad of Umbrella security soldiers on cover-up duty against their own company's own hideous creations, as well as the US Special Forces through a series of campaign missions, one of which is confirmed to be the attempted assassination of series hero Leon Kennedy.
Kawata-san explained that he was very keen to return to the darkest, dirtiest, grittiest period of Resident Evil history, no doubt a reference to the positively sun-drenched Resident Evil 5. It's even darker still when you consider that the bad guys are taking centre stage for the first time in the series' history. Each member of this elite squad has their own speciality. Vector is the team's own Sam Fisher, employing active camouflage and visual mimicry technology for sneaky kills. Spectre is the resident surveillance master, which means he's decked out with infrared goggles and is a dab hand with ranged weaponry.
Hang on, Vector and Spectre, do all of their names rhyme?
Well, I never got to find out. Just as they were about to reveal the other two, this happened.
Really?
Yeah, if only. The other two are called, wait for it, Bertha and Beltway, which leads me to believe that Slant 6 weren't responsible for naming the characters. Bertha, lovely Bertha, is a medic who can heal and boost her compadres with adrenaline shots, and Beltway is a demolition specialist.
The comparisons to Resident Evil Outbreak, an earlier attempt to take the series online, are inevitable and partly warranted. But this is definitely the product of Capcom attempting to fuse elements of Outbreak with the numerous advances made in online shooters since. As such, movement and aiming is much looser than the deliberately restrictive controls of the numbered Resi games. There's a Gears of War style cover system, and each class can earn new perks and weapons as you progress.
Naturally, there's a competitive multiplayer mode too, where 4 other players can take on the role of the US Special Forces. Only a straight team deathmatch mode has been revealed so far, and it was confirmed that the zombies and BOWs would not be playable. However, the addition of these non-playable threats adds a unique layer to the combat. Agile creatures like hunters ensure that would-be campers will meet with a swift demise, and it's very easy to forget that you're being stalked by a cloaked Vector when you're busy dealing with the zombie masses.
Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City is scheduled for release towards the end of the year, but more details are expected to rise from their graves at E3. From now, check out our Captivate coverage elsewhere on the dash, and yes, the full interview will follow shortly.
I was on fire, who you'd think would have more pressing concerns, wants to know what the latest is on Mass Effect 3.
Well, assuming he hasn't been burnt to a cinder by the time this comes out, there are finally a few details floating around on the game after its recent reveal in exclusive factory Game Informer magazine. As led into by the recent Arrival DLC, Mass Effect 3 starts with Shepard on trial for crimes of interstellar sexiness, a trial that is rudely interrupted by the arrival of chittering space wrongs, the Reapers.
In addition, Cerberus, the organisation from the second game led by Charlie Sheen's dad that funded Shepard's resurrection, is now out to kill Shepard for his renegade ways during Mass Effect 2. Some squad members have already been confirmed, namely Garrus and Liara, assuming you managed to not get them all killed during the climax of Mass Effect 2. Also, depending on your actions in the first Mass Effect, Kaiden or Ashley, Rex, Mordin, Legion and Anderson will also appear in the game, but not as party members.
The combat system looks to have been overhauled again. The battlefields are larger, you can pick up enemy weapons, and your arsenal can be customised by swapping out things like barrels and scopes. You'll also have a larger skill tree to develop your character and the ability to upgrade your class-specific powers several times over.
The other big bit of speculation being laid to rest is the question of multiplayer. Apparently BioWare will consider it for future releases or spin-offs, but that it won't be making an appearance in Mass Effect 3.
Shame. Mass Effect 3 is down for an autumn release this year, and we're hoping for lots more info on it closer to E3 in June. Stay tuned to Inside Xbox for that.
And that's it for this week's show. Remember, your questions are the power drifts that fill up our show's nitro meter, so keep them coming into the gamertag Sent You a Message.
Email them, or the exhortations of a deposed Nigerian prince, to sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
Join the writing on the wall at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
Or twit the tweet-twoar at sentyouamessage.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.